Scandinavian cuisine stands out for its clean flavors and striking presentation. From Copenhagen to Stockholm, restaurants innovate with local ingredients. New Nordic cuisine revives deep culinary heritage. Chefs connect to Viking food traditions. Nordic food means living with nature and the seasons. Resourcefulness shaped foraging, hunting, and farming. Today's chefs are inspired by ancestral simplicity. This journey links Viking food to modern dishes. We'll explore the Norse pantry and preservation. Food tells the story of people and land. Let's travel back. Imagine wood smoke and tables full of bounty. By understanding Viking traditions, we appreciate today's flavors. Modern dishes continue a long chain of tradition. The past lives on in every bite. Let's begin our journey into Nordic food. The Viking pantry mirrored the Nordic landscape, filled with what the land, sea, and sky could provide. There were no exotic spices or new world crops. Instead, their diet relied on hardy local ingredients. Fish like cod, herring, and salmon were staples caught in abundance from cold northern waters. Freshwater lakes and rivers provided trout and pike, a reliance on seafood that continues today. Vikings were skilled farmers, growing barley, rye, and oats grains used for porridge, stews, and flatbread. Porridge, made with water or milk and sweetened with honey or wild berries, was a daily staple, a tradition still alive in Scandinavian breakfasts. The wilderness offered wild berries, lingonberries, cloudberries, bilberries, essential for vitamins and sweetness. Foraged herbs and greens like nettle, sorrel, and wild garlic added flavor and nutrients to soups and stews. Mushrooms were gathered in autumn, and hunting provided elk, deer, and wild boar for feasts. Farm animals, cattle, sheep, goats, pigs were crucial, providing meat and, more importantly, dairy. Milk was turned into butter, cheese, and skyr, a protein-rich food that could be stored for some time. Nothing was wasted. Even whey from cheesemaking was used in cooking or as a drink. This nose-to-tail, root-to-leaf approach was born from necessity and is now a celebrated philosophy among modern Nordic chefs. The Viking diet was simple, nutritious, and deeply connected to the land. Today's Scandinavian cuisine still honors these ancient ingredients and methods. The past is present in every bowl of porridge and every slice of flatbread. Simplicity and resourcefulness remain at the heart of Nordic food. The Viking pantry set the foundation for a resilient cuisine. These traditions continue to inspire chefs and home cooks alike. In the north, survival meant making the summer's bounty last through the long, dark winter. Preservation was essential. Drying, smoking, salting, and fermenting became lifelines. Fish and meat were wind-dried, especially cod, creating stockfish that could last for years. Smoking added both preservation and deep flavor, with food hung in longhouse rafters to cure in wood smoke. Pickling and salting, using precious salt from boiled seawater, allowed meat and fish to be stored for months. Fermentation transformed cabbage into sauerkraut and fish into pungent delicacies like surströmming. These methods made permanent settlement possible in Scandinavia's harsh climate. The cold, dry air and seasonal rhythms shaped every aspect of food storage. Today, smoked salmon and pickled herring are world famous, direct descendants of Viking preservation. The strong flavors of preserved foods were the taste of survival, a sign of security through winter. These ancient techniques are still celebrated in modern Nordic kitchens. Preservation is not just history, it's a living tradition. The ingenuity of the Vikings endures in every bite of cured fish or fermented vegetable. Survival shaped the soul of Scandinavian cuisine. Many beloved Scandinavian dishes trace their roots to the Viking Age. Flatbread or flatbröd was a staple. Simple dough cooked on a griddle or embers, still enjoyed today with cheese or pickled herring. Cured and preserved fish like lutefisk and gravlax are direct descendants of ancient preservation methods. Hearty soups and stews, simmered with grains, root vegetables, wild greens, and meat or fish, fed Viking families and remain comfort foods today. Dishes like lapskaus and artsoppa echo the one-pot meals of the past. Feasts featured roasted meats, ale, and mead, traditions that live on in holiday roasts and festive gatherings. The connection between food, community, and the changing seasons is a thread running from the Viking Age to now. Every meal tells a story of resilience and celebration. Ancient recipes continue to shape the Nordic table. The Viking legacy lives on in every iconic dish. Geography and climate were the true chefs of the Viking kitchen. Rugged coastlines, dense forests, and short growing seasons demanded resilience and resourcefulness. The sea was the most reliable provider, making fish and seafood central to Nordic identity. The brief summer was a race to harvest, forage, and prepare for winter. Preservation became the core principle of the food system, with cold winters acting as a natural refrigerator. Regional differences emerged. Coastal Norway relied on fish, Denmark and southern Sweden on grains and pork, inland Sweden and Finland on game and foraged foods. These variations still define local cuisines today. Vikings had deep knowledge of their environment, what to eat, what to avoid, and how to thrive. This wisdom was passed down through generations, a form of cultural wealth. Modern chefs are rediscovering this wild larder, reviving forgotten flavors and ingredients. The landscape continues to shape the Nordic palate. Geography remains the silent hand guiding Scandinavian cuisine. Modern Scandinavian menus are filled with echoes of Viking cooking. Smørrebrød, the Danish open-faced sandwich, features dense rye bread and preserved toppings, a direct link to Viking grains and preservation. Iceland's skyr and hakal, fermented shark, are living pieces of Norse culinary history. The Swedish smorgasbord, with its array of pickled, cured, and smoked foods, celebrates ancient preservation techniques. Even seasoning connects past and present. Dill, horseradish, and juniper berries were Viking staples, still essential today. These native flavors define the Nordic taste profile. Every dish tells a story of survival, adaptation, and creativity. The Norse soul lives on in every bite. Tradition and innovation walk hand in hand. The Viking spirit flavors modern Nordic cuisine. The new Nordic cuisine movement sparked a renaissance in Scandinavian food. Chefs looked inward, reviving old traditions in a modern context. The movement's manifesto emphasized purity, simplicity, and freshness, values rooted in Viking cooking. Terroir became central. Food should reflect its place of origin. Foraging, working with local farmers, and reviving heritage ingredients echoed the Viking way of life. Traditional preservation methods, fermenting, pickling, smoking, drying, became tools for new flavors. Modern chefs experiment with these techniques, honoring Viking ingenuity. The movement gave Nordic cuisine a new identity and global confidence. Greatness was found in local history, not imported luxury. By embracing Norse legacy, chefs created something both innovative and timeless. The roots of the past fuel a vibrant culinary future. The Viking spirit inspires every modern plate. For Vikings, food was the heart of social life, community, and ritual. The longhouse hearth was where people gathered to cook, share stories, and strengthen bonds. Major life events and seasonal celebrations were marked with communal feasts, traditions that survive in modern Nordic holidays. Food played a role in religious rituals, with offerings made to the gods and shared in communal feasts. Sharing food was an act of hospitality, trust, and even spirituality. Today, traditions like Sweden's fika and family holiday gatherings continue this legacy. Food remains a powerful social glue connecting people across generations. The act of sharing a meal is still sacred in Scandinavia. The Viking spirit of community endures at every table. The journey from Viking longhouse to modern Nordic restaurant is a testament to tradition's power. Norse cooking's core elements, reliance on the sea, respect for seasons, mastery of preservation, still define Scandinavian cuisine. Smoked salmon, lingonberries, rye bread, and hearty stews are echoes from 1,000 years of kitchens. Modern chefs celebrate these roots, reviving ancient techniques for creativity and authenticity. Nordic cuisine now has a unique global voice, proud of its history and confident in its identity. Every meal is a living link to the past, a story of resilience, respect, and connection. The food on a Scandinavian table is a narrative of land, people, and tradition. The Viking story continues in every delicious bite.